So we're here at the Kirrane skating rink up at Larz Anderson Park. This is one of the many facilities that Brookline has and is able to provide for its community.
The rink opened in 1958. I was 11 years old. I've skated around a lot of places. I've never seen anything quite like it. I went online a while ago to find out what kind of outdoor rinks there are, and the internet gave me a tour of rinks all over the world. Some are lakes, in Switzerland and foreign countries, but nothing was quite like what we have here at Kirrane Rink, so it's very unique.
This skating rink is home to what we're seeing now with our local hockey teams, both adult and youth, but also it's a public community rink. So we see everything from families and pre-K and kindergartners, like I said, all the way up through adults. So we host open skates, public skates, as well as hockey games and special events when the weather's right. As we know, it's an outdoor rink, so we're at the mercy of the cold weather, but it's been a wonderful year, and as you can see, the ice has never looked better.
Adult hockey leagues come from quite a distance because they have what they call their winter classics. For example, a group I know pretty well from Winthrop, which is an hour travel time, comes here every year, and they choose this rink to be their premier rink for their winter classic games. Brookline firefighters and Brookline police had a winter classic competition. So this goes on a great deal.
I love things architectural and historical, especially things that are true antiquities, and special places that are respites from the city, the urbanness of it. It's a resource for a lot of Boston communities as well as Brookline, where you can actually see the stars, deer still here. It's an integral part of the green space ecosystem. It's the Emerald Necklace ends at, of course, Jamaica Pond, and then you jump up here to Larz, and then you've got Allendale Farm, then you've got Allendale Woods, which goes over to the VFW, and then of course you've got the Arnold Arboretum. And that green space is a really important part of the fabric of the greater Boston metro area, but not just from the ecology part, but also from the historical part of it, and the people who made sure to protect that green space, like this special place where we are now, giving that to the public for its long-term enjoyment.
This rink basically looks pretty much like it did when I started skating here in 1958. I think there's the addition of the glass on both ends that protect people when they're playing hockey and people are watching. That was added. There were sort of shacks on one side where people back in the day changed their skates, and now there's this, what I call, a really beautiful and magnificent warming room. One feature of it that people don't focus on, I think, enough is it has a side rink for little kids. I have seen other rinks that have sort of auxiliary children's areas, but kids can come up here and they can go on the side rink. People who are skating around, the adults, one doesn't interfere with the other. The children don't interfere with the adults. As soon as they learn to skate, they come on to the main rink and have a great time.
This park itself has a lot of incredible history. Women were trained here during the war. Isabel Anderson was the granddaughter of William Fletcher Weld, who was the richest man in America for a while. When she inherited $17 million, she was one of his 2 grandchildren, and she took over Windy Top, which was his home, and turned it into more of a mansion, and hired Charles Platt to make these incredible gardens and invited the public in. There were public skating that happened at the lagoon down at the bottom of the hill.
Last week, we all remember how bitter cold this season has been. And so nobody ever skates down at the lagoon anymore because our climate has warmed up. But this past winter's been very cold, and I went down there with my grandson, strapped on skates, and went skating on the lagoon the first time I've skated there in 70 years. I skated there 70 years ago, and I skated there last week. I personally have access to another rink which is 5 minutes from me in the opposite direction, so it's not an inconvenience, and I can skate year-round. But I would give that up in a minute to be able to preserve Larz Anderson as a 3-month rink rather than a year-round rink, there's a lot of pressure to make it year-round, and it's understandable from an economic and budgetary perspective.
We are in the process right now of looking into its future and kind of looking ahead and seeing what we can do with this facility. The town is, working together, I think very strongly across many departments and many committees and commissions to think of what the next steps are. As we stand here today, there is a plan in place utilizing some funding from the Community Preservation Act, which Brookline just adopted, to help understand what needs to be done to bring this rink back up to speed and back up to its prime and ensure its use and ensure its playability for years and years to come.
We get people from all over the place who grew up nearby, who want to see it preserved, who maybe they've moved away, maybe they're still coming in just because it's that special. But the direct who walks to this park is what a lot of other things don't have, right? So we don't have that in close community, which is why we need people like preservation and friends groups and things like that.
I could not imagine myself in a gym. It's just not my thing. So with my personal interest in skating, I can get pretty much as much exercise and cardio, and I can skate as intense as I want to or as casually as I want to, and that's substitutes for going to a gym. Also, it's a lot less expensive. But going to a gym is just not my thing. I wouldn't do it. But I do this.
When you look at the history of the park itself, Isabel Anderson, she was a feminist before there were feminists, right? She drove her own car. Women didn't do that. She really was the force behind this place. She was not just the money of it. He was a diplomat and all that, but she was her own person in her own right. She was a Red Cross nurse, and on the front lines. She was not some lady having tea. She was out there trying to make the world a better place, and that's why she gave the property to Brookline. Instead of turning it into her own private museum, she turned it into a public museum. Brookline for everyone.